it's Chris from My Stamp Lady. I am here with the Peace and Joy bundle. I really like this bundle. What attracted me to this bundle to start off with was that you can cut out words and you can cut out some cardstock to be a mat for them. That's always kind of one of the pains of when you have a word, is that you can't make a mat. Well, now you can. So Peace and Joy has the words bright, peace, and joy, and they have the fine, the stamped, and then an additional larger mat. And that's what we're going to work with today. I'll start off showing you the card because I think it's a lot of fun. It has a retro look, I think, and part of that is because of the paper. I chose a piece from the Heartwarming Hugs Designer Series paper package, and this is kind of an idea of what you can see what you get with this. So all of my paper sizes are listed on my blog, mystamplady.com, and you can find all the supplies below and also on my site. So I'm starting with a crumb cake base, and it's a half a sheet, 5.5 by 8.5, folded in half. I have my piece of Designer Series paper cut down to 4 by 5.25. So don't worry about writing this down because I do have all of the sizes and all of the supplies written down for you. I can set this aside and then go ahead and work on my next sections. Because this is a photopolymer stamp set, I am pulling in the Stampin' Pierce pad, and I have my word bright. I did not use the very fine die cut for this one, so let's just stamp that. And a gorgeous big word that's bright. On this piece of crumb cake, I'm cutting out my mat, and then I'm going to use the die to go in and outline the word bright and cut this out in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I use some mini glue dots to glue that down, so I'll just pick those up and place those on my word, and then we'll place that down on that crumb cake cardstock mat. I love how I have that die cut right around there for me. For the next step, I'm making a banner, and this is wider than my banner cuts, so I'm going to go ahead, go in and just make a little pencil mark in the center, about 1/2 inch up, and then with my paper snips, I will snip right up in the center and then go from each point, each corner, and just cut that out to make my flag. Drawn to this fairly simple layout with the banner, and if you stay tuned, I'm going to show you an additional card that I have designed that has the same layout. Okay, so with my Pear Pizzazz, let's go ahead and stamp up here. And then with Mossy Meadow, I'm gonna just stamp some leaves out on the background here. I'm gonna hang off the paper on here, so I grabbed in some scratch paper. Then I want a little bit of red. I decided that it needed a little bit of red to be pulling in a little more color from the background. So clean this off, and now I can go over and grab some Pear Pizzazz down here. And we want to get a little bit of the greenery coming out on the bottom. And we'll pull some red down with those berries here. Okay, so I can set that aside. So now I have my bright, and I want it to say merry and bright. So with my Mossy Meadow, I'm going to stamp the two words merry and they're straight lines, so they're very easy to cut out. So I can just take my paper snips in and just trim those out. But what I like about trimming these out is that I can put them anywhere that I want. You could stamp it right on your cardstock, but this way I can adjust the words to wherever I want them to be placed. I have a piece of real red cardstock that I've cut, and I'm going to put this right down in the center to kind of break up and highlight my background. So you saw me take this out of that folder, and I've run it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine to get this wrapped in warmth pattern on there. This embossing folder set comes with 2 different patterns, and I believe it's called Wrapped in Warmth or something like that, but you will see the name down below. I have a piece of my real red braided linen trim. One thing I like to do with this linen trim is I like to take the end and kind of flare it out. So you'll see I'll take a little piercing point and kind of pierce or flare that out so that it shows up just a bit more. So after you trim off those little ends there, we're going to take it and just kind of flare it out. I just take my piercing tool and just run it through it a few times, and that separates out those pieces. I put dimensionals on the back side because I want this to stand up a little bit. So I'm just removing the top here, and then I will put this down on my card base, and I'll have a little bit, and it'll create a little bit of depth for me. So put that down, and then this is going to go right in between here. So I put regular adhesive right down the center and then a dimensional on the end, so that will kind of prop it up. And then we'll just pop this right down in there. So let's get that Merry and Bright in here. And I decided to use a little bit of liquid glue. Just easier with this tiny little piece, just to put a little bit of liquid glue on there. And with my Take a Pick tool and the little sticky end, I can pick that up and help me position that. To finish this particular card up, I have some of the red rhinestones, and I'm going to use the Take a Pick tool, and we will add these to the front of this card just to add a little more red. I thought it needed a little more pop of red, and so we will do that in through the front here. And there you have a fun Merry and Bright card. And so, like I said at the beginning, I like this layout, and I decided to use this layout again. So instead of using the word bright, I used the word joy. Pretty much kind of followed the same idea, just put a piece of, I put a piece of trim up here, have the layer. I did switch to Cherry Cobbler, and because I switched to the Simple Christmas paper pack. So just use the same ideas, but now I have Merry and Bright and Joy to the World. Be sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more cards like this, and to click on the bell if you would like to get noticed when I have a new video.